nicht diese Töne, sondern lasst uns angenehmere anstimmen. Und
We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order now that we've gotten through our technical difficulties.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Herlinger is not present. Commissioner Dozer? Here. Commissioner Hill? Here. Vice Chair Lapuz? Here. And Chair Jones?
Aki.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda, Barbara?
Chair Jones, there are changes to the agenda. We are going to be advancing agenda item number 11 after agenda item number 6. Thank you.
Got it. Do we need to make a motion or anything like that? We just do it. Okay. Any other changes to the agenda? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to general public comment. Is anyone here for public comment?
Chair Jones, we do not have general public comment
All right.
in chambers nor online.
Great, thank you. All right, moving right along then. Approval of the meeting minutes from June 25th, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Yes.
Motion to approve the minutes from June 25th, 2026. Motion moved by Commissioner Dozer, seconded by Vice Chair Lapuz. Please go ahead and vote. Comes up in your screen?
No, nothing yet.
No?
Do you want to just do a
Do you
verbal?
do? Okay.
Voice vote.
You do votes. Commissioner Dozer?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Hill? Yes. Vice Chair Lapuz?
Aye.
And Chair Jones?
Aye.
Thank you. Passes unanimously.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to the overview of the Santa Barbara Police Activities League, and we have some guests. Please join us. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Joanna.
Hi, my name is Jacob Tapia.
Thank you guys so much for having us. My name is Judy Lugo. I'm the Executive Director of the Police Activities League, and I am here to give you a little bit of historical knowledge as well as let you know what PAL does in our community. I have been a part of PAL for 18 years now, and PAL was actually established here in Santa Barbara in 1999. Many people know what the police department is, but they don't really know the PAL program as a whole. And I've also brought two incredible youth that have been with us for under 1 year. So I'm really excited that they're joining us and how brave they are to come here and speak to every one of you. So a little history is PAL was established in 1999. So we've been operating for over 25 years. It is free membership. So any youth, we have an open door policy. Any youth that wants or needs any of our services at PAL is welcome to come for free. There's just a waiver that the parents need to sign. It's for ages 11 to 18 as long as they're still in high school. And we operate from 3 to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, so right after school. And we have extended hours during the summer. We're operating from 1 to 6 p.m. During the summer, as well as special excursions like Hurricane Harbor, deep sea fishing, as well as right now we have a group coming back from an outdoor youth connection camping trip with one of our mentoring officers and staff, and they'll be here in a couple more hours. Our PAL is not a unique idea. It was established in 1914 by a New York Police Department commissioner. And his idea was that there should be more positive interactions with law enforcement and the youth and the families overall within their communities. So it was established in 1914, officially in 1917, as the New York Police Athletic League. And it has transformed since then into activities leagues as well. They're all across the nation and has now started to go global. We have a few chapters in the UK, Australia, so it's really kind of a movement that is stretching beyond the United States. In 1999, retired officer Kent Wojciechowski initiated our Santa Barbara chapter of the Police Activities League. It started at the Westside Boys and Girls Club with primarily athletics, but he really had a vision of making sure that we didn't limit ourselves to only athletics, that it went beyond into leadership and more community involvement. So since then, we have done too many things that I was really trying to put all into one presentation, so I'm going to try to give you as much as I can. I put it my slides a little bit off whack, but I wanted to highlight our National PAL family and our participation with National PAL. You may or may not know our Chief of Police, Kelly Gordon. She is now a treasurer of our National PAL Board of Directors. So we have a voice now in our national organization, and it's for policies, for strategy, for the betterment of our youth, and just encouraging and pushing the mission of a police activities athletically. In addition to that, we work together with National PAL. They share their most up-to-date standards, safety procedures, as well as innovative different ideas and work that they do, as well as we get to share some of the work that we do. We also receive a mentoring grant that helps us expand our mentoring opportunities from the group that's coming back from a camping trip in the Outdoor Youth Connection with Cal State Parks, from our deep sea fishing trip that Commander Katsapis likes to lead with monthly mentoring and fishing. In addition, we have, my goodness, we have a lot. Let me refocus. We're going to New York. We're going to Washington, D.C. on Sunday with a group of high school students and one of our incredible PALPAC members. So one of our mentoring officers will be joining us as well. These are all because of incredible funding that comes not just from the community, but our National PAL mentoring grant. I like that picture and I didn't ask, sorry, thank you. We are home base as at the 1235 Teen Center. So we are partners with the City Parks and Recreation Department. City Parks and Rec allowed us to move in 2011, and it's been our home ever since. We've been able to lease for $1 a year since, I believe, 2012 is when we began our $1 a year lease. We were able to expand into an outdoor area during COVID so that we didn't have to close and limit our activities and our support to our youth only in a virtual manner. And in September 16th, 2025, one of our mentoring relationships blossomed to a funding from the Women's Fund to renovate our whole facility. Rebecca couldn't be with us today because she's working now. She just graduated. She's going off to architect school. And she and her mentor, who were working together for 6 years, were the masterminds to redevelop our whole facility. And educational kitchen, from new recreation space, and overall safety. So if you haven't been down to the teen center, I really hope that you guys would take the chance to go. What we do, our focuses are primarily leadership, mentorship, and academics. Our academics, we're very proud to say that for the last 10 years, oh my gosh, are we at 11 yet? For the last 10 plus years, we've been able to have 100% graduation rate for youth that stay with us for about 2 years on average. With college readiness, with mentoring support, with leadership support, as well as with academic support, we're able to ensure that any of our youth are able to graduate from high school. Should they decide to apply for college, which we support and help them with, they will be accepted. 100% are accepted to college. We also promote trade schools. We promote the military. Right now, we have 3 young men in military in San Diego training for the Marines. So whatever they choose to participate in, we try to help and support and make sure that they're ready for their lives after high school, whatever they choose that might be, but to make sure that they're successful and they have all of the tool sets to do so. Some of our graduates have gone on to UC Berkeley, UCLA, NYU, UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, and City College is always a great option for them as well, so we help and support them with that. And we also award $25,000 annually through our Maribel Franco College Scholarship, Memorial Scholarship, that is funded primarily by the Richard Bertie Family Foundation, as well as other private donors. So an important thing is PAL is its own private 501c3. We have to raise all of our own funding. Again, our programs are free because I know and I understand that police in our name is already intimidating to many youth. So we don't want to have that barrier of even $5 for membership fee. We eliminate that right away. On top of that, we never ever push any relationship with the law enforcement. If they're not comfortable and they don't want to develop a relationship, we don't push it. If it's not natural and organic, there's really no point to it. It doesn't help anybody, vice versa. The great thing with our incredible leadership is that our chief has encouraged our officers to attend in and out of uniform. And that is what has allowed us to really open up our doors for our officers to meet our youth. And not just our officers, professional staff as well, to meet our youth, get to know what the community, what their issues are, what has happened day to day, and it helps both sides to learn and understand each other to a point where we can really make some positive changes in our community. Through our surveys, we've come to find out that about 1% still don't fully trust law enforcement, but they do trust PAL. And they are willing to tell PAL staff if anything is occurring and allow us to report it to police department should they need to. We do a lot of that through our community service, our Youth Leadership Council, the Discover Law Enforcement program that does about 9 weeks of introductions to law enforcement. This one is very, very special because you don't need to have an interest in law enforcement. You just want for our youth to understand what the police department does, why it does it, what the different departments within the department do, as well as harbor patrol, highway patrol, our airport patrol, our sheriffs, and so on and so forth. They get to meet all of these different law enforcement agencies and how they work and ask the tough questions and really get a better understanding. And they really become the ambassadors of why things happen, when they happen, and again, help our police officers also understand why some things are happening within the community of our youth. Campership Alliance is also a very unique program that we do in the summer. It was established in 2001, and it's a great partnership within Santa Barbara Zoo, Parks and Recreation, Museum of Natural History, Museum of Art, Museum Moxie, Ellings Park, Circle V Ranch. There's about 12 to 14 agencies every year fundraise their own money to give us full summer camp scholarships. And within those scholarships, our job is to allocate these scholarships out, and we do about 350 scholarships a year. We just started doing transportation, and let me tell you, it's fun and not fun at the same time. It's been great to offer transportation to Carpinteria for the first time since 2020 in COVID. And in doing so, I've actually gotten to drive a few times for Carpinteria, and there is a young man who is a little higher on the autism spectrum, and he has made multiple friends on the bus. His mom is just so excited and happy, and every parent has told me that there has not been an opportunity for a lot of the Carpinteria families to receive or participate in summer camps because they're too far and they don't have the transportation. So being able to take that barrier away has really been incredible for a lot of the Carpinteria families. We support Carpinteria, Goleta, and Santa Barbara. In our Youth Leadership Council this year, the group that is also going to New York and Washington, D.C. to represent Santa Barbara, is made up of Bishop, Dos Pueblos, Carpinteria High School, Santa Barbara High School, and San Marcos High School this year. So we're really excited to have all of these different high schools represented in our Youth Leadership Council and promoting a lot of different core values of service to our community. They are the leaders within our organization. They're the ones that help support and push different ideologies that they may have, and they also get to have Detective Vorster on our committee to help kind of be the voice at the police department as well, and just a mentor as a whole during all of their weekly meetings. We also have an incredible chief's advisor on our executive board, as well as our chief always makes it a point to make sure that she attends as many meetings as possible so that it's a straight beeline to the top and any support that PAL would need. On top of all of that, in her very available schedule, she still meets with our Youth Leadership Council quarterly to find out directly from them what their needs are, what's happening on campuses, in the community, in the neighborhoods. And it's been an incredible journey to see them go from really quiet and shy to ready to tell her anything, to the point that I have to go, hey, let's mellow out a little bit, because be careful what you wish for. Our police advisory cadre is made up of some of the officers that are sitting hiding back there as our mentors. So the chief has made sure that we have direct representation within our police department, from our professional staff to our officers that receive training to continue to mentor and support our youth, as well as to go on some of these trips and just make sure that we have this incredible connection and bridge at all times. And one really, I don't remember if I put that in my slide, but one really fun and exciting thing is we have an alumni in almost every department within the police department. We have an alumni in records, we have an alumni as a police officer, we have an alumni in dispatch, and the business office. We just need an alumni in leadership. Kidding, sorry. Trunk or treat. We have 3 really big community events that our Youth Leadership Council as well as our youth put together. Trunk or Treat started during COVID time as something that we thought was just going to happen once and then we can move on. It is one of the biggest events during Halloween time in the Spencer Adams parking lot that's right behind PAL, and it's a huge community event. From our police department, airport patrol, highway patrol, all the law enforcement agencies, as well as the city Parks and Rec and other city departments come together to give free candy and free fun activities for our youth. So we have about 1,000 to 1,200 people that come to this event. So should the Fire and Police Commission like to come and have their own booth, you know, the fire department would love to host them, and maybe they'll stop winning. We have a competition. We also have a haunted house that used to come out of the 1235 Teen Center, but now it's within the Santa Barbara Junior High. So our high school leadership mentors the leadership group at Santa Barbara Junior High, and they put together this incredible haunted house for the community, for the students, in their basement. Basement is scary as much already, but they go above and beyond, and they really give this incredible experience, and I hope that you guys all come out to check it out as well. And we do a lot of community service hours for that. We also have Winter Wonderland, which also started around 2001, where all of from the schools to different community agencies, they refer families that are typically falling through the cracks. They're the ones that aren't being supported by some of the other gift-giving organizations for whatever reason. They've been maxed out, and they come to us. We make sure that we get a special wish list, and the most important part of our event is that we're giving the family a chance to be a family. Sit down, have dinner, full party, we have games, we have activities, we have face painting, and one of the most incredible things is that our police department, our officers, our civilians, they've all been basically buying the gifts for about 80% of all of the families that are referred to our organization, which has been incredible. But there's still 20% that you're welcome to, to adopt as well. Thank you. And I try to go as fast as I could. Before I pass it over to Joanna and Jacob, is there any questions for me? That means I did a good job. Awesome. Joanna.
Good evening. I am Joanna Castro. I am an incoming freshman at San Marcos High School. I've been coming to PAL for 10 months now, and I first got mentioned PAL by some of my friends. I've seen myself develop these past months, and during my time here, I joined some programs such as Discover and the Police Recruit Experiment. I've got to go behind the scenes of what police officers really do and the training they had to go through to get there. I learned how to approach traffic stops, and I got to learn the phonetic alphabet, and I got to practice using it on the radio with Detective Baca. We also got to check out the academy, and we saw how they get trained and how strict the program is run. But we also got to learn and experience the marching they do at the academy. Although it all seemed mentally and physically challenging and hard, it also was fun and cool to experience, and sounds like something I would like to do in the future as a career, whether it's being a police officer or a police dispatcher. Overall, PAL has impacted me in many ways from how I was before. I was a shy and introverted person, and at the time, everything I do had always have to be with my friends, or else I wouldn't participate. But with the community I was surrounded by at PAL, it helped me build my confidence and social skills. And I also learned how to become independent. And these skills have impacted me a lot and made my life easier. Looking back to everything, PAL has changed me in many good ways and has taught me new things. I will continue to keep going to PAL and also joining the Youth Leadership Council. And I also encourage others to join PAL, and thank you all for your time.
Hi, I'm Jacob Tapia, and before I start, I really want to appreciate everybody who's here and like all their time taking up. I don't want to take too much, but at PAL, it really helped me go over like my anxiety. In school, elementary, I used to do like big speeches. I was in student council treasurer. I used to like give out awards to people, but PAL, Judy, and every staff over there has taught me a lot of things, even if it's as small as how to play Uno No Mercy or as big as making more food. I really learned a lot of stuff from PAL, but mostly when I'm cooking or helping them make food, how to stay like clean or organize my space. I've learned to always wear gloves, wash my hands before every time I make a meal, and I've made a lot of friends from PAL, such as Joanna over here, and honestly, PAL has been such a good place to be. It's really been fun, play pool, Uno, chess. It's been a lot of fun from learning from PAL. From like for officers that have been there, it's been really fun to meet them. I've met over a dozen officers like Romeo, Charlie over here, and a lot of other officers. I really do appreciate all the officers and all the other PAL staff that has been here for me. Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you for your time, honestly.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for any of our presenters from the commission?
I have a question. Thank you, Judy, and thank you, guys. PAL is such a great organization. I might be biased. I'm on their board of directors, but it really is. Can the public be more involved in some of your PAL activities, or is it strictly the officers?
Did I forget to say Chief Males? The fire department is incredible and has been one of the bigger partners. I'm just a little bitter because they keep beating us in almost every competition. But there might be some biases from, I get tickets from one and the other ones come and save, the kittens from wherever. But we have an incredible relationship with the fire department, and we cannot thank them enough for always saying yes to whatever might come their way, and we love to support them in the same way. They called and asked if we could go to their CERT program, and we loved being there. We loved talking to their youth about the PAL program that they hadn't learned about quite yet either. And it's really so many layers within our partnership that it's one of these things where our youth have a direct line not just to law enforcement, but the fire department. One of our youth is in their internship, their cadet program as well, which is, we try to say, hey, be a police officer. He's like, oh, I want to be a firefighter. But it's okay because we know he's going to be well taken care of, and he's going to be an incredible partner in the community for everyone involved. And honestly, we also work very closely with the district attorney's office as well. So it's something that is rare in this community. There's over 5,000 nonprofits, and none of them have the ability of having our youth sit and talk to the chief of police or meet with the fire chief, or should something happen, they know exactly what trusted person to speak to and know that it's going to be handled. That was a really long-winded question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Another quick question. How many youth members are there generally?
Right now, we have, so with Campership Alliance, we have 652 enrolled as of to this point. About 300 or so are from our summer Campership Alliance program, so our summer camp scholarships. The other are youth. So a very important thing about PAL and the Teen Center is that we do have youth that will stay with us for a few years. The average is about 2 to 4 years. So if they start in junior high, sometimes they will stay with us, but our whole purpose is to encourage and empower them to be able to be more active on campus, as well as different clubs or organizations. Partnerships are the only way that we can really do the work that we do. We can't do it all. We don't want to do it all. We want to work with others to make sure that our youth are getting the best that they can from Santa Barbara. And I already forgot.
Thank you.
You answered it.
Thank you. It was like it. I'm sorry.
There's probably 40 kids every day.
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Chief. See, great partnership. We have about 25 to 40 a day. There was a time where we had 40 to 60, and it just was not manageable. So with partnerships and with the support of other community agencies, we were able to ensure that every youth received support, whether it was on campus or in a different after-school activity, so that we were able to continue with safe protocols and so on and so forth. But, yes.
Thank you.
And we do have youth from Lompoc and Ventura and Oxnard. We are a stopping ground for some youth that go to school here, but their parents commute. So they'll come to PAL, they'll do their homework, they'll get an incredible meal by Jacob, and then their parents will pick them up and take them home.
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
Any other questions or comments from the commission? And are there any online or other comments?
No online comments or comments in the room?
Well, thank you very much for everything
so
you do.
much.
Thank you all for
Thank
being here.
you.
Wonderful presentation.
One comment.
Yes.
So I just want to acknowledge Judy and for all the amazing work that happens at the center. She's been the hub of it for a long time. And the partnership that we have and all the work is because she's open to new ideas and really always pushing the program. So I want to acknowledge Judy and all of her hard work. She loves the acknowledgement and the center stage so much, you can tell, but, I have a captive audience. And she's a wonderful example for all of our youth. So I just want to acknowledge, we're so fortunate to have this relationship. As sitting on National PAL, it does not exist with all chapters of PAL. So what we have here is very special and really, really appreciative, and high five to both of you because you guys kicked butt today, so well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it is Joanna's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Right on. All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Per the changes to the agenda, our next item will be item number 11, Santa Barbara Fire Department Incident Reporting Data.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Chris Males, your Fire Chief. I have a very short presentation on just our quarterly stats for the second calendar quarter, so April, May, and June of 2026. Just a couple of changes. I know it gets very complex with all of our records management systems, but our main records management system that we use at the fire department, we had a significant change in platforms starting in January. For all the years that I'd been on the department, we'd been using what's called NFIRS, National Fire Incident Reporting System. In January 2026, we switched to NERIS, National Emergency Response Information Systems. Without going into the entire slide, it basically is an incredibly robust program that is not only user-friendly on the front end, but also supports a myriad of data on the back end. NFIRS was very limited. It was code-based. So for example, if we went on a medical call, I would put in a 321. That's what we put in, and it would say medical emergency. Now with NERIS, you go to medical emergency, illness, difficulty breathing. And so it's very user-friendly, and based on what you code in, it automatically routes you to additional questions that support that initial finding. So it's very intuitive and it's very user-friendly. On the back end, it supports us with a lot more data. We are required by law to submit all of our incidents through the state to the national system, and that does that automatically for us instead of having to do manual uploads over a period of time. That workload is actually significantly decreased. So just a change from NFIRS to NERIS. That's the end program that we use. A couple of months ago when you visited the Regional Dispatch Center, you learned about CAD, Computer-Aided Dispatch. CAD automatically sends information to the report system that we use to write. So in other words, automatically to our fire apparatus, we can pull up the call and we have all the response times and the call type information that comes from dispatch, and then we're able to complete our reports either on the apparatus, on scene, or afterwards. So We use a number of different programs, but a lot of them are linked together so that every time a response time is updated at dispatch, it automatically updates the different types of reports that we're responsible for completing. So for quarter 2, 2026 incident summary, 3,264 calls. That's about 37 calls a day. I've told you that we're an 8-station department, but Station 7 and Station 8, the Riviera and Airport Station, don't run as many calls as what I'd like to call the core stations, Stations 1 through 6. So 37 calls a day, largely divided by 6 stations or so. You can do the math. Of course, downtown is the busiest. The downtown core in the city is busiest. But 1,945 medical calls, that's about 22 medical calls a day. And the second to the bottom number, fires, I just want to remind the commission that means actual fires. So that means typically that we're pulling a hose line off the fire truck and extinguishing a fire. So, for example, if we got to what came down as a structure fire and we found food on the stove or an oven fire that somebody had put out, that's not a fire. That's a hazardous condition investigation. But if we actually pull a line and extinguish fire, that's how it gets coded as a fire. So again, 3,264 calls for the quarter. Kind of interesting here, and this is especially important with our regional dispatch system, aid given and aid received. What that means is aid given are incidents that we respond to in other jurisdictions, county, Montecito, Carpinteria. And then conversely, aid received is when they come in to help us. County, Montecito, Carpinteria comes in to help us. So we provide, on this document, we provide more aid. You can see which kind of makes sense because you know, the county is more spread out. We surround the county, and our station might be closer to a county station. Or again, with regional dispatch, it picks the closest available resources. Versus with the city, a great percentage of our calls are downtown, and so just our department handles those types of calls. We don't need to bring aid in from other departments. But this ebbs and flows, so it's nothing I want to hang my hat on. It just happens to be a quarterly perspective that we're responding outside the city limits at the same time that other jurisdictions are coming in to help us. And then I always like to bring up training. Training, as you know, is incredibly important to the fire department. We are a all-hazard or all-risk fire department. As I've told the commission many, many times, I challenge another fire department to be as complex as ours for our size. You know, I've talked to you about the airport, the freeway, the railroad, the wildland urban interface. We are truly an all-hazard fire department, and when you take on that title of being all-hazard, you have to be trained in that. You can't just say, oh, we're going to just maybe respond to a aircraft emergency and not be specifically trained in that. If we have a duty to respond to an aircraft incident, we need to be properly trained for it. So nearing 5,000 hours of training for our folks in one quarter, that's a significant amount of training. That also ebbs and flows. Sometimes at different times of the year, we'll send our people to 1 week, 2 week, 3 week classes. And so, our numbers will go up. Also, when we're running an academy, we're not right now, our numbers will go way up when we're running an academy. But if you remember, to the annual report that we gave, we're typically around 17,000 to 18,000 hours of training annually. So this number is tracking and actually trending a little bit higher, which is good. And with that, I told you to be short. That's it. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions from the commission?
Just a quick one, Chief. Your first slide on the NERIS and NEFRIS, is there any AI involved at all?
Wow, good question. I don't know. Let me find out. I know it's extremely intuitive, but I don't know if that's AI-based or just category-based, where it figures out what the category is, and then,
Yeah.
but I don't know the answer to that, and let me find out.
No, it does seem there are some components, starting with the plain language that you use, and then how the information is filtered, consolidated, and all that, and then comes out reporting.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, it would make sense, but I can't give you a definitive answer
Yeah.
one way or another, but I will find out and let you know.
thank you.
Question two. Any other questions? No? Anything from,
Chair Jones, we do not have public comment in chambers nor online.
great, thank you. All right, thanks,
Okay,
Chief.
thank you.
Appreciate you.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Our next item will be item number 7, Santa Barbara Police Department Strategic Plan 2026 through 2029.
My backup didn't come up. Good afternoon, Chair Jones and Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
It is a pleasure to present to you, this is the first public view of our new strategic plan and the results of our strategic plan. With us, joining me are Tim, and Tim has been our main workhorse and mastermind in terms of from our consultant that we've worked with, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But he has been the one that we've been working directly with, and a lot of you might have interviewed with, and has had a lot of direct contact with different community groups as we've worked through this, besides doing a lot of internal work with us. And then Jim Hummelt, who has been with us for about the past year. He was working in a assistant chief role for a period of time, and has stayed on with us because he started the work with the strategic plan and wanted to make sure that he was there to support us through the completion. And as you'll see as we quickly go through this and talk about it, it's not just doing the strategic plan, there's also a work plan that goes with this. So we're continuing to work on the work plan that goes with this. And this is a 3-year strategic plan starting in 2026. So this is really our compass for continuous improvement. What does it do? You can, I think this is a great illustration of what it does for us and how it works. Ultimately enhancing public safety, so how we're going to proactively address all of the dynamic needs of our coastal city, a lot like Chief Mills talks about. We have a lot of different things here that a lot of other cities don't have. We have mountains, we have State Street, we have the coast, we have the airport, a lot of different things that not all coastal cities or all cities have, period. Strengthening our community trust and engagement, developing and supporting our employees, and interesting, you asked the question about AI, but we're continuing to modernize our technology and our operational excellence. So this is really the foundation of our future, which is and our roadmap for the future. And this is how we make sure that we're continuing to be ready for the future. So it gives us clear direction and accountability, so that framework that we have. It really shows us where we allocate our resources, how we do our budgeting, how we are meeting the demands and calls for service. Public trust and transparency, so we've done a lot of work in this area, but it's a area that we're still continuing to work in. So continuing to foster the open dialogue and ensure that we are equitable and inclusive in how we police in our community. And preparedness. So it's also how we equip the department to handle all of those increasingly complex public safety challenges, which there are many. So with that, what we talk about is we didn't try to do this all internally. We brought in experts. Jacob Green and Associates, specifically Tim and his team that has been assigned to this project. This is what they do. A lot of them are former law enforcement professionals. Not all of them are, but they come with a great, vast experience in how we do the strategic planning workshops, the surveys that we sent out, the interviews that were conducted. This is what they do. And that's why we brought in this partner to really make sure that we were transparent and that we weren't trying to guide the process to just get a result that we wanted. We got good feedback, we got negative feedback, it didn't matter. We wanted to make sure that there was someone that was really spearheading it, that we had that accountability and that transparency with what we were doing, internally and externally with our community partners. So our stakeholders, our sworn and professional staff, nonprofits, local schools, neighborhood groups, business leaders, and everyone here in the city that cares deeply about what we do. So with that, I'm going to just have Tim talk a little bit about the process, and I don't want to sit and read off the slides. They're all here for you so that you have a basis, but I really just want Tim to just kind of run through with you a little bit about that process that we went through.
Thank you, Chief. Sorry. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Chairman Jones, nice to see you again. Nice to see the commission. So as Chief Gordon mentioned, my name is Tim Hegman, and I'm a senior advisor with Jacob Green & Associates. And we focus strictly on special districts, counties, and cities only in California, however, up and down the state. We're based in Southern California out of Orange and Orange County. A lot of the vast majority of our team, there's about 35 of us, are consultants and with background in local government and some expertise in other areas as well. This process is one of various processes that we handle, but the strategic planning process started about 6 months ago. It's a 6-month process. It involves our team as well as the team with Santa Barbara Police Department. We started the whole process with a meeting with the chief and her staff, asked expectations, what they wanted out of this plan. And I will say, as the chief mentioned a minute ago, I'd like to commend the chief and her staff, because not all agencies, police departments in this case, go outside of their agency for this type of plan. They handle it internally, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. But I think it takes some open-mindedness and courage to bring in a third party to do a very deep dive into their organization, to reach out to the community and to work through the process. So as you see on the slide, we conducted interviews with city staff, department staff, and community leaders. There was a survey that was sent out to the public, department heads within the city and department staff. We took all that information, our team did, we researched it, did a deep dive, and aggregated a lot of the information to develop. We identified a SWOT, so the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the department, what they did very well, and where some improvement was needed, and where some opportunities were open for them to take advantage. So we did that, and then after we gathered all this information from them, myself and one of my colleagues visited here for a 2-day retreat with the chief and her staff, where they identified we are there to facilitate and to co-create with, in this case, the PD here in Santa Barbara. So they developed their vision statement, their mission statement, their value statement. We assisted with that, but it's those are their statements. They also identified 4 priorities during the retreat. Based on that information, our team then went back and identified on each of those priorities initiatives and tactics. It's one thing with a strategic plan where an organization can do one and put it on a shelf, check the box and say, we did a strat plan, and never follow through. And unfortunately, that's common. In this type of plan, the one thing Jacob Green really values is accountability and ownership. So with the help of the chief and her team, for each of those goals and identifying the objectives and the tactics, we built out a work plan. So what that is a dashboard that is internal for the chief and her staff to look at each of those priorities, identify ownership for each of those priorities, identify, meaning a staff member, it could be a chief, it could be a sergeant, it could be a lieutenant. Identify for the initiatives, who is going to take ownership of those initiatives to make sure they're being done. Doesn't mean that person who's the owner is doing all the work. It's a team effort. And then we look at the tactics. And within the tactics, we look at timeframes. When do you want this to start during these 3 years? When do you see a target date for this to be completed by? Are there any barriers to this? What could be a hiccup to accomplish this goal? Is there a budget involved? Is it a general fund? May it be a grant? And I can't come up with these answers. So what we did when we came back from the retreat was we met once a week for 4 weeks with team members of the police department, and they provided that information in real time. As it was a Teams meeting, it was online, it was virtual. As they provided the information, we were inputting the information at the same time on the dashboard. The dashboard is now with the PD, and it's a way to hold people, I shouldn't say people accountable, but themselves accountable to make sure these get done. It could be Chairman Jones may reach out and ask, where are we at with this goal on this priority? Well, they can pull that information up and say, well, we've done this much and we've progressed this much along the process. So it really talks about ownership. It's a process that is open. We, with our experience, as the chief said, have experience on this team that was up here. There were 2 of us, myself and another colleague. Combined, we have close to 60 years of experience in law enforcement in leadership roles. So we bring that background with us. Really the goal for us as our team, they have their goals, their priorities, but for us, we want to make sure they're successful. So we want to work with them through the process. We don't want them to identify something that they'll never reach. If they want that, it's great, but we may bring them back and say, that's fantastic, but this is about what can we accomplish in 3 years? The good thing is, I love the momentum because everybody wants to accomplish something right away, and that's great, but it's a 3-year plan for a reason. So instead of rushing to get everything done at one time, there are time frames along the way for the police department to accomplish those. And I will say, Chief Gordon was fantastic from day one, being very responsive and whatever we needed. She had our back. Chief Helmold as well. He was my liaison for the most part from day one. Great interacting with him. And I will say, and I'm sure you know this, but the team at the Santa Barbara Police Department, from the retreat when we got to meet about 35 or 40 of them that were involved in that process, and then afterward when we met with the team to do the work planning, top-notch team. They were very responsive. We asked for a lot of information. We asked for a lot of documents. We asked for a lot of data, and they never hesitated. They provided that all in a timely manner, and it really helped this process move along, and we didn't have to keep asking. I think we may have asked one time. Well, I know we asked one time for the information and didn't have to ask again. So commend the chief and her staff for that. But that's the plan now.
So the mission statement that has come out of this process. Mind you, I will say Sergeant Klug, who recently retired, actually there was a lot going back and forth, and we were having a lot of discussion about this word, that word, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, there was some pizza, and then there was a pizza napkin that is still in my office. It may have some sauce on it. And he wrote this mission statement down. Mind you, this is someone with 30 years on the department, still fully engaged in the process, knew he was retiring, and was able to take a lot of different ideas and really come up with something that everyone got behind. So the mission statement, which has not been updated with the department for probably 30 years or so, this is now the mission statement that we will be bringing forth. Through compassionate professional service, community partnerships, and accountability, we are dedicated to creating a safe and thriving Santa Barbara. Vision, to provide public safety through compassion, integrity, leadership, and responsiveness. Values, compassionate service, professional excellence, nurture relationships, drive innovation, strengthen trust, enhance accountability, and respect all. And to Tim's point, this was not Chief Gordon saying this is what our mission statement is or what our vision is. This was the over 30 people that were in the room that were professional staff and sworn that really worked together and came up with this. So this is something that clearly I'm behind and supportive and really proud of the work that the team did. but this is all team. And these are the men and women that are providing public safety to our community. And this is what they feel are the important pieces, along with they had all of the input from all of the community surveys, because Tim and his team had that. So we had the SWOT analysis and we looked at the SWOT analysis. So this wasn't just done in a silo, is my point. So this is a living blueprint. This will be reassessed as we move along. If things change and it doesn't work, we have the blueprint to change it. So this, as we go, we'll continue to refine our strategies. We have already developed milestones and assigned responsibilities. We'll continue to seek resources and budget allocations. We're starting to implement different strategies. Clearly, we're reporting out to the Fire and Police Commission first. The same information will go to City Council next. We'll be continuing to seek feedback and input, but this will be the continuous ongoing cycle of how we'll be doing this. So the SWOT analysis, like Tim talked about, our strengths, which is our foundation, weaknesses, which is structural gaps that we have to acknowledge, opportunities, which are our pathways forward, and some threats, which are things that we have to navigate as we move on. Some of our strengths, our service and performance was something that internally and externally was acknowledged. I'm not going to read through each of these, otherwise we'll be here a long time, but I just want to give you the highlight. Our workforce and our culture, which I say over and over again, we have a very deeply committed group of men and women that make up the team of the Santa Barbara Police Department that are very, very committed and service-oriented. And I understand that people think that that's the way it should be in every department, and it should be, but this is a special group as far as I'm concerned. Community and leadership, that was acknowledged that our values-driven leadership are aligned with our city priorities. We have and continue to grow our partnerships with our schools, our neighborhood organizations, just like with PAL. And we're trying to be very forward-thinking and really looking at how we modernize, especially with the opportunities brought about the new building in the future. Weaknesses, capacity and morale. Staffing continues to come up. It's a challenge. Even though we've been hiring, it's still a challenge because we're training a lot of folks. So maintaining staffing levels is really a challenge, especially with all of the expectations with the community. We have some gaps in our training for our newly purported supervisors and professional staff. So all of those pieces, and there's always the internal concerns regarding how we recognize, support each other within the department. Systems and infrastructure, I mean, yes, it's coming with a new station, but it doesn't change the fact that we have some operational inefficiencies as a result of the technology in our facilities. So that's an issue. The decision-making is something that we're continuing to work on. Part of that is communication. And it's also an area where we have had a lot of turnover. So we have a lot of growth within our supervision level. 40% of our department has been hired in the last 4 years, which also means that you've lost a lot of your experience, and we've had a lot of promotion. So there's just some experience gaps that go along with that. And perception and alignment. There are still some perceptions for some of our communities that they receive inequitable service. So those are just things that we need to be aware of and make sure that we continue to address. Opportunities, modernization and infrastructure. So continuing to maximize the investment that the community has made with the new station, modernizing our community integration. So make sure like our things like co-response and other pieces, improving our multilingual outreach, how we do our quality, our targeted enforcement for our quality of life issues like our e-bike, and making sure that we're responsive to those needs. Workforce development, so that continue to build that team, our capacity for long-term resilience. Threats, economic, high cost of living. It's very challenging to recruit and retain. I have an officer that came to me today who's looking at moving back to Connecticut, not because they don't love being here, but because they have the support of family and a different cost of living, and they're looking at what that really means for for their family and for their children. So it's just one example. You know, we have a lot of complexity here, so we have homelessness, mental health, quality of life, sustained workload. All of those pieces are threats, public policy, and trust, the misinformation, a lot of the things that we've been talking about recently, a lot of things that are not necessarily controlled by us, but they're national narratives and priorities and different things that happen at the national level, how that impacts how the community feels about us locally, and then our infrastructure vulnerability. Recommendations. So these are the 4 pillars for our improvement, is to leverage our strengths, which is our culture and our visibility, capitalize on our opportunities, which is the modernization and our partnerships, address our weaknesses, which is our staffing and accountability, and mitigate our threats with some long-term stability and long-term strategies. So, taking all of that information is, once again, where Tim and his team come in, and it's putting all of this into action. So, leveraging our strengths, addressing our weaknesses, capitalize on opportunities, mitigate our threats, and that's how those 4 core priorities come up. So priority 1, strengthening community trust and collaborative partnerships. And I will point out again, this did not come out of Tim telling us or anyone on that team telling us. This was a result of taking all the information at the 2-day strategic plan that Tim and his team facilitated, but this was internally driven. So priority 1 is to strengthen the community trust and collaborative partnerships. And these are the 4 ways of doing that through: expanding our community engagement and visibility, enhancing our youth outreach, education, and development programs, improving our public communication, transparency, and information sharing, and strengthen our partnerships with city departments and stakeholders. Priority 2, deliver compassionate, professional, and responsive service. Under that, the 3 items are improved service delivery in response to community needs, expand professional staff roles and alternative delivery service, strengthen training, communication, and cultural competency. Priority 3, invest in organizational wellness, leadership, development, and excellence. The first one under that is enhance employee wellness and resilience, strengthen leadership development at all levels, promote a culture of inclusion, recognition, and psychological safety, and expand our career development. Priority 4, advance innovation, infrastructure, and operational effectiveness. So using and enhancing our technology and data-driven policing capabilities, modernize our digital systems, including our evidence management, strengthen communications and field technology infrastructure, and expand specialized units and innovative response capabilities. So now we come to that timeline where we're talking about the work plan and the timeline. So each of those items, so this gives you the example. So the goal 1, strengthen community trust and collaborative partnerships. So under, for example, like on this slide you'll see, so under 2, 3, where those outline in terms of the work plan. It's a little harder to see here. It's a little easier to see when you look at the whole document, which I think Barbara has shared with you already. But you can see that when you look at it. This is just an example of how that lines up. We can't do everything at one time. I wish we could. But we also have to have the bandwidth where I'm not interested in checking a box. If we were just interested in checking the box, we would have not done the process this way at all. We would have been done in about 2 months. We would have done some things, we would have checked some boxes, and we would have presented you with a beautiful report, and we would put a bone on it, and you would never hear anything more about it. That is not our intent. So we have to be able to do it within our capacity to actually effectively make real change. Real change takes time. It takes thought. It takes work. So if you're looking at something that has to do with, say technology, it's not just a matter of, pick a system. It is actually a team that is looking at different solutions that may or may not work, that they have to take the time to investigate. They have to figure out what systems can solve the problems that we have, how we would implement them, what the cost is, when I come back and ask for budget for that, all those pieces. So when you see where it starts, but a lot of these will take, the full 3-year plan, and quite frankly, will continue as ongoing goals well past the life of the strategic plan. So this is the second part of that. And you can see like goal 4, most of those start coming a little later. So this is a shared responsibility. The strategic plan is more than a document. It's a commitment to our action. By building on a very strong community relationships, proactively addressing areas for growth, we are positioned to deliver compassionate, professional, and responsive policing for the years to come. So I didn't want to go into, you have the entire document. If you have questions, I'm happy to ask them. Tim came all the way up today because I thought it was important that he was here to represent the process, the same thing with Jim, that we went through. We really want to make sure you understand that we really strive for this to be a transparent and process. All the interviews, there wasn't someone from SBPD sitting there during the community interviews or any of the, even internal or external. It was all Tim and his team without anyone from command staff driving that process or driving the feedback. So even if we got, like in the SWOT analysis, we got one comment, it's still addressed within that SWOT analysis, even if it may have been a one-person opinion. I do think, when you look at the number of surveys we got back and other things, we talked about this, it was a low number, but it is typical because typically those that submit either have really strong feelings one way or the other. And most of the folks that are in between, you don't necessarily get a lot of feedback from. So I think what we got was really helpful and really important, and we tried to make sure that we included all of that. And it's the same reason that we share the SWOT analysis, not just internally, but it's actually part of the document. So with that, any questions, we're here to answer.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the commissioner? Yeah, go here. Yeah, please.
So I'm just going to pick on the first item on the list of the timeline and wonder what is being developed in expanding community engagement and visibility. I know that's an area in which a lot has been done in the past, and wondering what the expansion projections are.
So that work plan process is just beginning. And I'm not going to answer that question right now, not because I don't want to, but our internal team is just starting to work on that.
Got it. Okay.
So this is not a chief-driven thing. This is the time that we are giving those meetings, like there was a meeting that occurred today. So once we've done more of that, that will come back, and we're happy to report on those pieces as we move forward. But this is just coming out first, and this is the first piece. With the strategic plan, those solutions were not part of it. Where there's now a team for each of those priorities that is working on what the actual implementation steps are going to be and what we're going to do within that timeline. And those meetings are still occurring right now as we speak, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. And I as chief, of course, have all sorts of thoughts and ideas, but this is supported by me, not driven by me. The teams are the ones that are driving this.
Thank you. That clarifies a lot of the questions that I would otherwise had, and thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's a very robust process, and the team and the external help took time to look at all the angles and all that. Just kind of setting expectations now. We do have regular quarterly metrics that we hear reports from your team. Will those KPIs be aligned to these priorities?
Not in the quarterly reports.
Annual reports?
I think we're going to have to look at what would be the best and most effective way to report back. I don't want to guarantee you in this moment that I'm going to come back every 6 months or every quarter. I think because we are just coming forward with this plan, we haven't even shown this plan to City Council yet. I think we're a little too early to tell you, as the work groups are starting their work, how often we're going to come and report that. So, certainly we will try to do it within a time frame that is reasonable. I just can't tell you what that is yet. because I don't really know. It may be, for priority 1, that may be more reasonable now, but priority 4 is more technology-based, and that may be further down the road. And a lot of these things also are dependent on what our bandwidth is, so they last the whole time. I can tell you a lot of time and energy right now is focused on the transition into the new building, because we will be moving into the new building in a year, and the amount of workload that all of my staff and all of the department right now is undergoing to make sure we can smoothly transition is really big, because when you think about moving our entire evidence room from one building to another, that's our team figuring out how we're going to do that and make that happen. So there is some competing priorities, and I have to make sure that we have the appropriate staffing and bandwidth, because as you can see, one of the things that came out was staffing. So we have to make sure that we have appropriate expectations as we move through this. So it is too early for me to tell you how often. I can tell you that, yes, we will report 100%. I just can't tell you what that exact timeline is right now.
Yeah, no, I mention it because the regular reporting are quite good. It kind of gives the commission the confidence that the Santa Barbara Police Department is playing a big role in the safety for the community, and we have metrics. So I would urge the team to actually look at how you could marry that reporting that's already in place.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way. I don't think it's how we can actually marry it within those metrics, because this is work plan and very specific to each of these items. So it's really going to be as the teams develop what they want to do, right? So if they want to do a particular type of software to address a particular challenge that we have with evidence management or something, we might be able to report on that sooner. But it's a little different metric, because it's not a matter of count this many widgets. A lot of these things are more people, cultural things. So we'll have to find a way then how we report that back out in terms of what makes sense in terms of a metric.
Right. No, because some of the metrics are actually federally and state mandated, right?
Yes. So this is different, because this is internal. And I want to make sure.
I would actually marry them to make sure you're not, because it's an allocation of resources question. If the plan, the strategic plan is a great one. And I think we can monitor progress towards the plan if the metrics are actually evidence that we can monitor regularly. Because
I hear what you're saying.
I understand about the constraints and all that and the priorities, but we've come to, in my 2 years in the commission now, I've actually come to appreciate the metrics that are reported the same way Chief Mayles reported on the fire department. And so I would really urge a careful thought on how you marry those metrics to the achievement of the plan. It may take time.
Yeah,
I get it.
and like I said, I just don't have an answer for you in this moment on how we're going to do that. And I want to be really conscientious about how we do that, because on some of these, how we're going to measure public trust, and I really also I don't want this just to become about the number, because then it becomes where we're checking a box. So I don't want to just say we're going to do 10% more in community events. We may do 10% less in community events, but we have 20% more participants. So I just want to be real thoughtful about that, because those are some of the conversations that we're having, because it can't just be about, like in terms of community engagement, how do we do more events? It's how do we engage more folks? And that may be less events, bigger events, so we're just looking at the different pieces of it. So that's my point, is I want to be really careful where what we're reporting is meaningful. We have to figure out what meaningful is in terms of the work plan, and I don't have that answer in this moment.
Makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, I do have a question. What is in the second goal, the second priority, alternative service delivery?
So that can be online reporting. It can be if there are certain things, like we have a professional staff member who's a police tech that can take some of our traffic collisions,
Oh, I see.
which frees up our sworn personnel. So alternative service delivery is how we can use other than just what do we need to physically have a police officer respond to versus other resources.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Anything from,
We do not have public comment online or in person.
okay. Great.
We'll go on to our next item. Item number 8, overview of the City of Santa Barbara tow operating policies and tow rotation roster.
Don't get sick in this.
Thank you.
Come on up. So Traffic Investigator Powell will be giving the presentation on the tow rotation and fee adjustment proposal. He's been in the traffic unit for a bit, but he is new to the investigator role for what, 6 months now? All right, it's all yours.
Good evening. As the chief stated, I will be giving a quick review on the compliance check of the tow companies that are in contract with us, and then I'll be going into a proposal for a tow rate fee increase. We have 6 companies contracted with the Santa Barbara Police Department. It's Bob Holzer's, Love's Towing, Santa Barbara Towing, Smitty's Towing, Thomas Towing, and 805 Roadside. This contract allows me to show up unannounced annually to each of their tow yards and do a compliance check. This compliance check is in regards to having the tow fees posted outside, procedures on how to take care of a tow or pay those tow fees, all in public view for any customer that responds to their tow yard. It also requires that they have a locked tow yard when not in use. It has to be, so the office has to be staffed at all times during the hours they are open, and this was conducted in March of this year. At that time, all of the tow yards passed the compliance check. We also have a 30-minute time restriction for each tow. What that means is if a parking enforcement officer, dispatch, or an officer themselves calls for a tow, those 6 companies have a maximum of 30 minutes to arrive on scene and start the process of towing that vehicle. If they're not going to make it in the 30 minutes, it's upon each tow company to contract out with another tow company on that, of those 6 companies, to then provide that service for them. Year to date, they have all been under 30 minutes. There are 3 categories of storage and 1 category of actual towing, which is per hour. The top left corner is light towing, and that is per hour. We currently sit at $360 an hour for the Santa Barbara Police Department. The light storage is per day. It's at $125 per day. Medium and heavy storage are also per day, which are at $145 and $175. The light storage is something as if a sedan may be towed and stored at their tow yard. Medium would be an RV or a box truck, and so on to heavy storage, which is most likely a semi-truck. They take up more room. The companies are not able to provide storage for more vehicles, hence there's a higher rate or a higher fee associated with that. Below it, you'll notice CHP and SBSO. That is a range. That is because the CHP and SBSO do not have a flat contract across the board with all 6 companies, as do we. They actually meet individually with each company and set a contract that the other companies do not get to see. So, for example, the light towing, per hour, you could have Company A that's getting paid $325 by CHP, Company B could be $345, and Company C could be $370 an hour. It's whatever they contract that year. Next one. Some of the factors that went into the next slides, where I will show you the proposed tow rate increase, are fuel costs. This year alone, diesel went up 32%, gasoline 22%. I thought I had it bad in high school when I had a 1991 Suburban with a 454 big block. I had 12 miles to the gallon. These trucks, on a good day downhill with a breeze at their back, get 6 to 8 miles per gallon. So we can see how the fuel correlates with those miles per gallon for the cost burdens. Other things are that these trucks can cost up to $500,000 brand new, just with the equipment that's on them, the size of them. The maintenance, the insurance, labor costs, all financial burdens for these companies in the tow world. This last year, I believe we towed 20 RVs. RVs and motorhomes are a little different because a lot of the times they're either abandoned or the owners don't think it's worth coming to pick it up from the tow yard. The fee at the tow yard would be worth more than what those RVs are worth that are, 15 years old, 20 years old. At that time, it comes upon the actual tow owners to then dispose of that on their own dime. That can be up to $2,000 out of their own pocket. They also don't get paid the storage fees, so if they had that RV for 15 days at the rate that you saw, they get zero. Occasionally, they'll get a payout from the disposal yard if it's a scrap yard, $325 for a small vehicle, depending if it's not completely destroyed and actually salvageable. As of this year, January 1st, AB Bill 987 was implemented. This bill goes over the consumer's rights, but a main part of this is that if a tow company tows a vehicle and that owner picks that vehicle up within 4 hours of it being towed, the maximum amount they can charge is 50% of their daily storage fee. The proposed rate for light towing would be increasing it by $70. That would put us at $430. The light storage would be increased by $35, which would put us at $160. Medium duty storage would be by 30 at $175, and then heavy storage by 20 at $195. If I can go back, it's important to note, excuse me, that the CHP and the Santa Barbara Sheriffs negotiate their contracts July 1st of every year. The last time that we had a tow rate was a long time coming. It was actually Officer, now Sergeant Casper, and you guys approved his tow rate proposal. At that time, it was January 1st, or it was in January. So CHP and SBSO had not upgraded their contracts because it hadn't been July yet. We're now past July 23rd. They've had a second contract. So we are actually behind by 2 contracts in comparison with CHP and SBSO, explaining why it's a little bit higher on the tow rate increase this year. As you can see, over those past 2 contracts, CHP and SBSO range now from $412 to $462 for hourly. They range from $140 to $155 for light storage. Medium is $160 to $175, and they actually don't have a contract with the heavy storage. You can see where the proposed tow rate increase will put us in a competitive area for each of those tow rates. By increasing it by this much, my hopes are that I can come back next year and not have to have such a drastic increase, because now we're caught up, not only from the 4 years that we didn't have an increase before Sergeant Casper, but now with the 2 contracts that we're actually behind for CHP and Santa Barbara Sheriffs. A representative from all 6 companies, either the owner or representative, are all standing in the back of the room. I get the pleasure of working with these ladies and gentlemen almost daily, whether it's resolving issues between us or concerns that they may have. In April of this year, we did our annual meeting at the Santa Barbara Police Department where I got to discuss any concerns that we had or any concerns that they had with us. At that time, there were no concerns other than the tow rate increase for the reasons that I had just gone over. It's been tough on them this year, economic factors, as well as just the price of doing business in Santa Barbara County. By approving these tow rate increases, I think it will not only hold up our side of the contract, but will also give us a competitive, it would put our tow increases in a competitive range to allow these owners and representatives to continue to work with us and not have to pick and choose of, hey, CHPs, I could tow one car for the 3 cars or 2 cars I have to tow for Santa Barbara Police Department. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation. Any questions from the commission?
Clear.
Chair Jones, sorry, I just lost my voice. Chair Jones, just to reiterate that the action item on this agenda item is to approve the staff recommended increase in tow rotation fees for fiscal year 27. So I want to reiterate that there needs to be a motion and an action item related to this.
All right, thank you.
I have an obvious question.
Yes.
Okay. I just said I think I might have an obvious question. Maybe it's an obvious answer. So the police department, along with the tow operators and owners that are back here, you've all worked together to come up with this proposal for the fee increases?
Correct. Per our policy and regulations, we're supposed to have at least one annual meeting, and this is where that annual meeting was. That's not only to talk about.
So they're in agreement with this?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Barbara, I have a question. We had a comment that was emailed to us as related to this agenda item. At what point in time did we engage with that? Should we?
Yes, and Chief, I did share your communication to our city attorney. How do we clarify written public comment received? Can we discuss that as part of this agenda item?
You can discuss it.
Okay, great, thank you. Go ahead, Chair Jones.
I'm sorry, you said what? Oh. Are there any other questions? So we did receive a public comment related to this agenda item. Should I just read it aloud, or?
If you would like to for the record, you're welcome to, but it has been included in our record and there has been a response from the police department.
And there has been a response, okay.
Chair Jones, before you read that, I know that the chief had a comment that she wanted to make first on that public
Please.
comment.
So the public comment was forwarded to me. We've since addressed that public comment. It's actually not, in the end, once we investigated, not specific to the action item that is before you today.
Mm-hmm.
It was a separate incident regarding how tow was handled, and we've since worked with this community member and resolved the issue.
Okay.
And Chair Jones, you have the response printed out in front of you from the chief.
So I appreciate the public comment. I appreciated the opportunity. Investigator Powell is actually the one that worked diligently along with Commander Casapas to resolve the issue and work through what the actual issue was. But in the end, it's not about the fee increase. It was specifically about that situation.
Right, I understand, thank you.
And it has been
It has been.
fully resolved.
Okay. Cool with me. All right, do we have a motion?
I move that we accept the recommendations of the staff with respect to the increases in the rates.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Hill. Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair LaPouse. Shall we go to a vote?
Thank you. Recommendation moved by Commissioner Hill, seconded by Vice Chair LaPouse, to approve the staff recommended increases to the tow rotation fees for fiscal year 2027. We'll go ahead and vote. Commissioner Dozier?
Voice vote.
Aye.
Dozier.
Are we okay?
I agree, yes.
Yeah. Commissioner Hill?
Me? Yes. Agree.
Thank you. Commissioner, well, it's going to be Vice Chair LaPouse
Aye.
and Chair Jones.
Aye.
Thank you. It passes unanimously.
Great. And there are no other public comment with regards to this agenda?
No public comment.
Okay, well, great. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time. presentation. Thank you all for being here.
Our next item, item number 9, Santa Barbara Police Department Mission Strategies Report.
And it will be Commander Beltran that will be presenting on misconduct.
Thanks, Chief. Good afternoon, Commission. Again, Nate Beltran, Commander, Santa Barbara Police Department. I oversee our Community and Accountability Division, and this will be your mid-year report on complaints from the Police Department. So this year, in quarter 1, quarter 2, from January through June, our department has received a total of 5 complaints, 3 of which were from the community, and 2 of which were administrative complaints, which are complaints that were generated internally. And at the conclusion of quarter 2, entering into quarter 3, we still had 3 complaints pending that are still open, being investigated, 2 of which are community complaints. 1 is an administrative complaint, and the policy sections that are currently being investigated are discourteous or disrespectful treatment of any member of the public or department, failure to knowingly or negligently comply with department policies, procedures, or lawful written directives, and safe handling, inspection, and storage. And that would conclude the report on complaints.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions from the commission? Okay, any public comment?
No public comment in chambers nor online.
Right, cool. Thank you, Commander Beltran.
Thank you.
And now he gets to give his first mission strategy. Woohoo! And because we did not do quarter 1 mission strategies, we combined, so you're getting 6 months instead of a quarter.
Thank you, Chief. So as a refresher, general reminder for us, our mission strategies are broken up into 4 quadrants or categories, and they're a quantitative and qualitative way for us to measure our performance as a department. And they're broken up into the 4 categories or quadrants of reducing harm, relationship building and quality of life, felt presence, and service. And obviously, each category lists their own different action items and services that we provide in each. I won't go over each of them, but they're there on the screen, and we'll move on to the next slide. We'll start with reducing harm. For quarter 1, quarter 2, year-to-date comparison to 2025, we had a slight increase in Group A offenses and crimes against person, and we also had a trend upward of 9.2% in arrests for that same category. And also, again, a Group A offenses is it's terminology that comes from NIBRS, a National Incident-Based Reporting System. That's the system that we use to report our statistics to the federal government. And crimes against property, Group A offenses, we were down 10%. And then we also trended slightly down 5.2% in arrests year-to-date compared to 2025. And then moving on to crimes against society, we had a more significant decrease of 26.7% in the offenses category, and then 29.2% decrease in arrests. We also had a decrease of 15.7% in driving under the influence arrests from 2025 to 2026. But in checking with the statistics and our crime analyst at the department, another thing to note on that is that we're also actually down 25% on DUI collisions year to date. So that's really good. Our enforcement is obviously showing, and although down slightly on arrests, we're still doing really good in that category. And then on the bottom right, you'll see our e-bike citations. We began actual enforcement. Education started a few years ago, but the actual enforcement, we started with administrative citations last year in May. So for quarter one, quarter two in 2025, you'll see we had 32 citations, and that's because we started late into that half of the year. Year to date this year, in quarter one and quarter two, we've had 137 citations so far for e-bike enforcement. We've been really trying to address that. It's a community concern that we get a lot of complaints for. Obviously, downtown, farmers market, and other things, and we've had a lot of directed patrols and very specific patrol for that particular enforcement. And then moving on to our relationship building and quality of life quadrant. I'll start with community engagement events. So far this year, we've had 62. And then I'll also just say really quick for anyone watching or anyone in the commission, Tuesday, August 4th, in 2 weeks, we'll be having our National Night Out event in the back parking lot of where PAL is, 1235 Chapala Street. It's from 5 p.m. to 7:30. It's going to be a great event, a lot of partnerships and other organizations involved. Police department, fire department will be there. It'll be a great event. That's going to be one of our community events. I figured I'd point that out there. But anyways, we had 62 events so far this year, and then also 595 co-response CAD calls. So that includes mental health follow-ups that are self-initiated by our co-response teams, but also the calls that they're involved in with patrol, where they actually respond to these calls for service to assist patrol officers with people that are in crisis or other people that actually just require that extra level of training that they have for trauma and other things, since they partner with a mental health clinician. And then so far this year, we've had only three e-bike presentations, but that's not alarming because we typically really hike up our presentations toward the end of summer as the school year starts. We really try to focus our efforts on elementary, junior high, high school, and try to get those safety presentations out there. And we're currently working with the Unified School District to try to really make a more robust program where it involves e-bike safety and actual riding in addition to that. So far only 3 of those, but we'll be picking those up here shortly. And then you'll see at the bottom, quality of life enforcement. We received tons of community concern and community complaints regarding parking issues. We've had 32,413 parking citations issued so far this year, which is a 23% increase compared to last year. And then moving on to the next slide, which is our service quadrant. You'll see on the left the different priorities, priority level 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the target time just to the right of that. We are doing pretty good in just about every category. So for priority 1s, our target time is 7 minutes, and we are currently at 5 minutes and 10 seconds. So we're well within the range that we're shooting for. Same thing with priority 2, 14 and a half minutes is our target time. We're currently at about 11 minutes, well within that range. Priority 3s, we're at 30 minutes is our target range, and we're currently at 32 minutes and 12 seconds. So slightly over, but if you look at the year to date compared to last year, we have increased by about 3 minutes, constantly striving to get better. And then priority 4, our target time is 50 minutes to respond to that type of call for service, and we're currently at 46 minutes and 45 seconds, which is well within that target range. So in every category, we've improved on our time, and we're still striving to improve in priority 3. And then with our next slide, analyzing these service numbers. So this just breaks down the total calls for service that we had. So top right, you'll see on-view CAD calls, which are officer-initiated calls for service. That's our proactive type of call for service where the officer initiates the call, whether they see a crime in progress or something else. We've had 12,067 of those calls. It's a 17.1% increase compared to last year. Public-initiated calls for service, which are community-initiated when community members call in. 20,814 calls for service, which is also a 3.6% increase compared to last year. And then the total CAD calls are listed down below that we've received so far year to date, 36,272 which is a 9.9% increase. You'll see that the top and the middle number, they don't necessarily add up to 36. The reason that is because 36,000 calls actually accounts for a plethora of other calls. Some of them end up being like be on the lookout type of calls where an officer doesn't actually respond, but we take that call for service. It's just maybe a call that where it's not appropriate for an officer to respond. And then moving on to our felt presence. So this slide really shows, at the direction of Chief Gordon, we created a new proactive unit to address community concerns, which has been an extremely successful unit for us so far. They're called the Directed Patrol Unit, and they primarily work evening hours, and they directly address any type of community concerns that come in. They focus on those issues, and they're not necessarily directed just to a certain sector or beat or area within the city. They can go all over to address these complaints. So you'll see, compared to 2025, we had a huge increase in proactive engagements. That those to the left, 2025 just shows our community action team. 1,300 on-view calls for service compared to this year, a total of 2,600, 2,650. And the bar in yellow there is the new team that was formed and created. They accounted for 1,511 of those on-view calls for service, which was a huge increase. And then this really shows where that comes into play. So focus patrols and then premise checks. So to give you a brief summary of the two, premise checks was something that we primarily, we had previously used. It's something where we go to a location, we get out on foot and we walk around and we look for different violations or crimes or things like that. Whereas focus patrols is something that also at the direction of Chief Gordon, we implemented about 2 years ago, where it's similar to a premise check, except the difference is that it's community driven. So if a community member complains about something or an ongoing issue, nuisance related or something along those lines, the officers will respond to those, and instead of referring to it as a premise check, when they tell our dispatchers what they're doing, their activity, they refer to it as a focus patrol. So that way we could better track that we're addressing something that's actually community driven and not just a location that they're getting out on foot and walking. So you'll see in 2026, we had a dramatic increase in focus patrols from 1,471 in 25 to 4,105 in 26 year to date. And that's directly related to that directed patrol team, them in addition to our community action team and our patrol officers. They do quite a few to help us out also and take care of the areas of the city that they work. Down below, premise checks, we had a slight dip in those this year, but again, I'll reemphasize that's not a bad thing. That just means that we're focusing more on what the community has been requesting of us.
And just a note on that, even with the focus patrols, if we get complaints regarding speeding or other pieces, then our motors direct their activities and they in fact track them as focus patrols. So we can actually now, we've started to be able to overlay where they're doing their focus patrols, where we've seen traffic collisions, so that we make sure that those are also in alignment, where if the community is complaining about something because they're seeing something, those community concerns, we're also overlaying it with the statistics of here's where we're seeing the collisions, and now here's where we're writing our citations, and then doing the most directed enforcement. And then the goal will be is over time, we will see the amount of collisions and the amount of enforcement needed go down because of this work.
Thanks, Chief. And then this final slide is really just a recap of all of the mission strategies that I just went over. And with that, that's the conclusion of the presentation. If the commission has any questions.
Thank you very much. Again.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Mr.
Lapousse, yes.
Just a quick one. Do you ever do reports on cold cases? Do we have cold cases?
Commissioner, are you referring to like We do reports on cold cases, but I just want to specify on what type of cold case, I guess, that you're referring to.
Cases that are old, unsolved, and then what is the length of average time that it's cold?
Are you speaking specifically to cold case homicides, or is there a specific?
All of them.
Vice Chair Lapuz, we are going to be agendizing this item as part of the Fire and Police Commission, so I suggest that we save their questions till that time, because this is beyond the current scope.
So we're going to get a report on cold cases.
We will schedule that
Okay.
forthcoming.
But we do have cold cases, right? Because you're going to make a report. Yes or no?
Yes, we do, but I do think we need to break that topic down a little more, because there are some cases that there's no workable information, a report's made and they're closed. There are cases that might be, such as a homicide, where we've worked them for 50 years. There's actually a cold case task force that is coming back within the county. So I think we need to make sure we're defining exactly what we're talking about, because typically the cold cases that get worked would be like the cold case homicide. But if we have a vehicle burglary that occurred 10 years ago where there was no video, no suspect information, those would be closed out, and those are not still continuing to be worked. So I think we have to break that down to understand what the information is that you would like us to bring back.
Yes, Commissioner Hill.
So a simple question, because I've got a granddaughter who just got an e-bike. So what is the consequence routinely of a e-bike citation?
They will be towed away.
That would be a good solution. But I don't think it's what you got in mind.
If they're a juvenile, the administrative citation is issued to them. We make an effort to contact the parents. We will contact the parents to advise them of the violation. And then from there, they get involved with the CADA program, where they're offered to attend an e-bike safety course. And then from there, the citation, it's administrative only. It doesn't go in any record or affect anything like that. And then as long as they attend the program and follow through with everything, it's essentially done. And we have a pretty high success rate with that.
I'm sorry, what is CADA program?
It's the, I'm blanking on the name. It's
Council on Alcoholism and Drugs.
There.
Say that again?
The Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse.
Ah, okay.
You made him nervous, it's okay.
She's only 12.
The whole point of it is so that there is an option where they don't have to pay the fine.
Right.
We would prefer we don't see them reoffend, but there is a progression to it. So if you have someone who is a repeat offender, has already, chooses not to go to CADA or repeats multiple times, there are a progression in the fines that you can see. Your question about the tow, they don't get towed if they're a class 1, 2, or 3, they're not towed. But if they're what we call a electronic motorcycle, then, and commonly what you would hear them called is the Surons, then we will tow them. Like last week, we did an operation on Friday and Saturday, and I think we towed 5 Suron bikes, because those are not actual e-bikes, those are considered e-motorcycles, and they are not road legal. So if we have someone that falls into that category, that is when we can actually tow the bikes.
And not knowing the municipal code by number, the citations involve things including not wearing a helmet?
Commissioner, yes, it's, well, the section is 10.52.020. If you wanted to reference it, and it lists a whole slew of things: helmet, wheelies, any type of unsafe riding is applicable to that section. And then I tried to answer your question more specific to juveniles, but just to clarify, adults don't qualify for the CADA program. They go with, like the chief said, the progression of fines.
Got it. Thank you so much. I think somebody will be reading that municipal code section shortly.
All right, any other questions from the commission?
Just one, I really like these regular reports. And it says mission strategies. So I hope with the new implementation of the new strategic plan, there's a way we can continue to get these regular reports and then marry them with the new ones that you've come up with. Because let's face it, I mean, your starting page, the harm service and policing business is a simple business, you know, and that's why I think the SBPD is very good at what they do. And so I hope that we continue to get these reports, and they're very positive reports, response times improving and all these things. And that's all I was talking about beforehand on the strategy part, because you cannot manage strategies that you cannot measure. You cannot show that you're improving if you can't measure it. And I like your reports. I've been seeing them for 2 years, and I like those.
Like I said, we just have to figure out what those metrics are going to be. And that's my point, is that the metrics don't necessarily look the same, and we have to figure out what those metrics are going to be. Because some of them are also people-related. So we have to figure out how we are measuring those successes or those failures. And I don't have an answer for that yet, because we're taking each of those categories, and there is a team working on each to come up with what those action plans are going to be. And so we have to determine how we are measuring that success, because I don't want this just to be a checkbox.
Right. We understand.
So that's my point. It's not that we won't. I don't know exactly how they will fit into a quarterly, because I also don't want to just say that I'm going to report to say I reported. I want to make sure it's meaningful and that we give the team a chance to figure out what they're basing failure and success on.
Cool. Anything else? Any other questions, comments? Any public comment?
I just have one question for Chair Jones and the commission. So we're fortunate we have Sergeant Bruno Peterson that you may or may have not met, who is really a mastermind in helping us with our PowerPoint presentations. I want to make sure, because we've made some significant changes to the way that we're presenting it, from the quadrants and the different ways. So it doesn't have to be in this moment, but if you have feedback on the way that we're presenting this, and if you think this format works, that's just my question for the commission as a whole, because we want to make sure that as we make these changes that we're not doing something that then misses the mark. So no answer necessary now, but if you have feedback for us, we would appreciate that.
Cool. I actually have a couple small things, but I can do that. It's very, very minor. It's the editor in me. All right, anything else? You don't need public comment?
No public comment online nor in chambers.
Okay, thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
All right, next agenda item.
It's going to be item number 12, commission and staff communications.
So as I mentioned, would like, as we talked about in our previous commission meeting, we agreed to craft a letter in support of the accomplishments of the police department, and we'd also talked about including fire. So Barbara, as our administrator, actually drafted a wonderful letter, but we did not include the fire piece. So I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the draft to be able to include commendations for the fire department as well.
I haven't seen the draft, but so moved.
Is there a second?
Second that motion. I think it's a great idea.
Right on. Can we go to a quick vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion is for updating the support letter to include fire. The motion was moved by Gary Hill, Commissioner Hill, and seconded by
Me?
Vice Chair Lapuz. We'll go ahead and vote. We have Commissioner Dozer,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lapuz,
Aye.
and Chair Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks. I'll also say I was able to, a couple Fridays ago, go fishing on that POW trip, and Commander Gatapis invited me and had a great time. The kids were great. And I'll have to ask you how that one kid who never fished, who almost didn't go, how he's doing. Remember?
He wants to come back next month.
This cat. You should have seen him, the glee in his face. Like when he reached his limit before anybody, and he was helping other people catch fish. And he was just on. Yeah, it was great. It was really, really wonderful. I get goosebumps thinking about it. Okay, anything else with commissioner or staff communications?
No.
Thank you. Anything with regards to the commission liaisons?
I'll speak on the commission liaison. We had I don't know what the official name of the meeting was. It was
It's the Local Immigrant Community Leaders Roundtable.
one thing that I took away, it was basically a working meeting, a planning meeting, but I took away one thing that disturbed me, which was a comment by one of the members at the meeting that they sort of we were discussing the issue of reducing, I'm going to lose the word, the question of whether or not the police were effective at reducing the
De-escalation.
Yeah, de-escalation. And she was so certain that, oh, no, the police are the escalating force. And of course, that's not what we have heard from anything that, while I've been sitting on the commission. And the comment was raised that, well, if there are public comments that you can come to the commission with, because we've never heard that here. And I thought perhaps this was just an old tape that somebody had in their mind for how things used to be, rather than anything that was a specific event that was generating it. But there was a reference to, there's all this evidence to support this, in which case, again, let's bring it forward. Let's find out what's really at stake there, because it's not the impression that I get. I don't think it's the impression that the data shows. And so if there's a disconnect between the perceptions and the reality, that's part of what we want to try to work on. And we might have to think about the best way to do that.
And Commissioners and Chair Jones, I wanted to add to you that the city is going to be working in partnership with several organizations to facilitate voter rights forums. Again, being able to make sure that voter interference and non-interference is a top priority, and that we're supporting our folks in submitting their ballots and being able to head to the voting booth for Election Day. So that was part of the conversation as well. And thank you, Commissioner Hill, for reporting out.
There were a lot of things in that committee. But the one I liked the most was the possibility of a public forum at in the Franklin Center, and somebody said, well, maybe we should get a translator there. And someone said, oh, yes, let's conduct it in Spanish and have the translator be in English. Right. And I thought that was a brilliant idea, getting people to recognize exactly what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Anything else from the commission? No. All right. I'd like entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, got the 1-2 punch over here. Okay. These two. Okay. Call this meeting adjourned, 6:07 p.m. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And hair grease.